Announcement, public notice and explanation for the world. March 18, 2020 by Anna von Reitz. First set of facts: the British Territorial United States Government doing business as the United States of America is foreign and separate from our actual government, the Federation of States doing business as the United States of America. The persons inhabiting the United States of America are all U.S. citizens either by birth, choice, or as a condition of employment in the military services. The Municipal United States Government doing business as the United States is foreign and separate from our actual Union of States doing business as the United States. These persons are all citizens of the United States by birth, choice, or as a condition of employment in the federal civil service and/or federal agencies. Both these federal entities are literally foreign governments and always have been under contract to provide specific enumerated services and empowered to do so by delegation of powers stipulated by their specific constitutions. The federal employees all occupy a separate and foreign political status while thus employed. With that firmly in mind, you are prepared to grasp the fact that both U.S. citizens and citizens of the United States may be American state nationals by birth and yet may choose for whatever reasons to function in these foreign political capacities as a result of their jobs or for other reasons. When an American state national adopts U.S. citizenship in order to work in a federal job in the military, they become dual citizens. When an American state national adopts municipal citizen of the United States status in order to work for the federal civil service, they also become dual citizens. Second set of facts: both these foreign governments have made a practice of claiming that rank-and-file Americans, all of whom are naturally American state nationals, are instead part of their citizenry, and engineering false registrations to back up their claims. This results in a woman like me, naturally a Wisconsinite, being misidentified as a federal dual citizen, presumed to be adopting both territorial U.S. citizenship and municipal citizenship of the United States, and both are political statuses which are in fact foreign to me, and which I have never knowingly and with consensual intent adopted at all. These foreign governments, which are both operating as governmental services corporations, have done this in order to work an identity theft and credit fraud scheme against me, their actual employer. They have done this to gain access to my assets and my credit, so as to rack up debt in my name, the same way that a credit card hacker does. They call this hypothecation of debt. Basically, they tell a big lie about me and about their relationship with me, in order to gain access to my labor and my other private property, for use as collateral backing their own debts. They pretend to represent me, to be my proxy and my agent, at the territorial level, and they pretend to own me and my assets as chattel property at the municipal level. None of these claims are true, and all of this has been going on behind my back and behind the backs of millions of other Americans. Their excuse for all this intrigue, deceit, and commercial crime, is that a third federal subcontractor went out of business following the mercenary conflict known as the American Civil War. The remaining federal subcontractors described above, have falsely claimed that this created an emergency and that our actual government was in abeyance. Third set of facts: our actual government in the international domain, the United States of America, which delegated all and any power that the federal subcontractors possess, is very much alive and has been in continuous existence since September of 1776. When one or both of these organizations, corporations cease functioning for any reason, the delegated powers return to us. They don't just flap around in the wind. Left without disclosure, the actual states and people continued to function in their own sphere after the so-called Civil War, without completing the reconstruction of the missing federal subcontractor, because the other subcontractors secretively substituted themselves and their agents and organizations for ours. We were never told. So, behind our backs, our federal employees have been misdirected by the foreign governments responsible, to prey upon their own employers, and this usurpation has gone on undetected for 6 generations. Until now. Let's make this perfectly clear: neither I nor millions of other Americans are any kind of federal citizen at all, and never were. We are not British territorials and we are not municipal citizens, either. The entire premise that we should be mistaken for either one, much less unconscionably subjected to false registrations to that effect by our own employees, is completely insupportable. Most of the debts hypothecated against us and our assets, including our land and our labor, are bogus, unauthorized charges made by foreign governments that have grossly overstepped the limits and stipulations of our constitutional agreements with them, foreign governments that have failed their duty to protect and assist us and which have not fully disclosed their activities on our shores. As a result, we have declared our correct political status and placed it on the public records of these foreign entities, served them notice, and assembled our States of the Union. We have placed liens upon all our land and soil assets in our own favor, posted our indemnity bonds, and are proceeding to secure our assets, complete the long overdue reconstruction, and correct the insupportable presumptions that have been made against us and our assets by the Federal Reserve System and the IMF, both. Except for the strictly limited and enumerated services stipulated by the respective constitutions, we are not accepting any debts accrued by these foreign governments, and as the priority creditors of both the United States, Inc. and the United States of America, Inc., we are holding these service providers to their contracts. Fourth set of facts, as the Queen's Corporations, Kinetic and the Pirbright Institute, have created and hold the patent to both the coronavirus and the vaccine related to it, and as DARPA and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation have funded their activities, and as this invention of theirs has caused unconscionable and inexcusable harm to us and to people throughout the world, we propose that the bill for all activities undertaken by the Trump administration and the other world governments to combat the coronavirus be sent to these co-collaborators and owners of this specific virus. After all, if my sheep got loose and ate my neighbor's apple trees, I would be responsible for the damage. Why shouldn't the Queen and her chartered monsters and DARPA and Bill and Melinda Gates and their foundation be held equally responsible for the damage they cause when one of their wee beasties is set loose on the world? We certainly don't propose to pay for the damage that these criminally irresponsible parties have done to the world economy and to the innocent people who have died as a result of their meddling self-interest. Fifth set of facts, the United States, Inc., is currently in liquidation and Chapter 7 bankruptcy and due to settle within 90 days. Our terms as the priority creditors are clear. 1. Our land and all titles and patents related to it must be returned free and clear of debt or encumbrance. Per the Sestuikevi Act of 1666, we, as individuals, and as a government, have been found alive, and we are due this recognition by the world and by our erstwhile federal subcontractors. 2. Our labor resources, which have been illegally and immorally press-ganged since World War II, must likewise be returned to us and to our control. 3. Our gold assets, which were cashiered in the Philippines by Scottish commercial pirates doing business as the United States of America, Incorporated, are ours by right and must be returned for our use and to our control. President Trump, President Duarte, Herm Elizabeth II, the Pope, and all other parties and principals are hereby and prior to this, fully informed that the American states and people are alive and well, are fully competent, and are still represented among the nations of the world by their unincorporated federation of states, doing business as the United States of America, all would be impostors and interlopers notwithstanding. Friends, please make sure that this news is widely published and even more widely understood by those seeking to settle the bankruptcy of the United States, Inc. Our relationship with Mr. Trump is overall cordial. We do understand the difficult position he has been placed in, repeatedly. We do support his efforts to drain the swamp and bring criminals to justice. That said, Mr. Trump's mandate is limited as always with regard to American state nationals and to American state citizens and to our government. The business of the district government is to be clearly separated and applied only to persons who are legitimately employed by the federal government, dependents of such employees, those who knowingly and with full disclosure adopt federal citizenship, or non-residents with respect to the federal districts who are actually and factually engaged in the interstate manufacture, sale, or transportation of the federally regulated substances, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. There is no provision for federal subcontractors to seize upon our assets, claim to represent us when we present ourselves, obstruct our access to our assets, or presume upon our material interests. Mr. Trump can certainly assist, but cannot settle the United States, Inc. bankruptcy for us. As the primary creditors of both the United States of America and the United States, we insist that all odious debt being held against us and against our assets be released by the banks responsible, and that an actual and honest jubilee take place for the first time in 800 years. These enumerated and clearly stated provisions 1 to 3 above, together with the permanent release of our private property from all claim of any foreign title, is the least that is owed for what has gone on here.